Hey everybody, it's Lori Osachi, and I'm just getting my screen share up to share my slides with you today. So we'll be starting in just a minute. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm hoping that everyone can see this. Maura, if you're on, could you text me and let me know that this is up? That would be great. Thank you. We're just going to start in just a minute, everybody. All right. All right, Maura, just a quick text from you that you can hear me and see the slides. That's Maura's my VA. She's wonderful, helps me out with all of this technological stuff. I'm good at the counseling and all of that, but Maura's the best at the technology. Okay, everybody. So I'm glad everybody's here today. And my name is Lori Osachi, and I'm a certified clinical social worker and director of the Body Image Counseling Center in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'm so happy to be here today giving a new training on how to avoid divorce and breakups. I'm a certified Gottman relationship educator, and I'm going to explain a little more what that's about later in this workshop. And I'm just so glad everybody's here. We've had a lot of signups and a lot of interest in this topic, which I'm sure is true because relationships are important in keeping them healthy and happy. So let's begin. And want to let you know too that if you have any questions about what I'm sharing today or want to contact me in any way, just shoot me an email at my email, bodyimagecounseling@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to get right back to you. All right. So let me ask you all, what brought you here to this webinar today? You have a lot of people vying for your attention, work, your family, other webinars. What made you choose this one? I assume that a lot of you are here today because unfortunately your relationship is in trouble and you're not sure what to do, and maybe it's been in trouble for a long time. It could be that you're bickering most of the time, or the opposite. Have you grown so distant that you could be living separate lives? Or maybe you're ready to get engaged or live together, and you're looking for solid premarital advice so it goes well once you get together and live in the same place or get married. Or do you feel like your love relationship is in a rut? Have you been together for a long time and it seems like the fire has gone out? Do you want to reignite the closeness and passion that was once there? Or do you feel like you're headed towards breakup or divorce if you don't make positive changes fast? And I would say most of the couples that call and contact me for help are in this category. They're really worried that things are going to end, and they really need help right away. Also, have you tried couples counseling with other therapists but it didn't work, and you're still fighting or distant or feeling trapped in your relationship? And another category that I don't really have on here today, but is your partner not willing to come for help or couples counseling, but you are, and you're feeling frustrated trying to convince them to get outside help? Well, if you're in any of these categories of couples, this is the right webinar for you. I'm going to really help you to get some answers today and know what to do fast to save that relationship or to make it stronger, and very quickly. In this webinar, you will learn 6 little-known but 98% accurate predictors of divorce and breakups and assess whether they are present in your relationship. You will also learn about a revolutionary coaching method that has saved thousands of marriages and love relationships in as little as 8 weeks. So who is this presentation for? This webinar is for all couples in a committed relationship who want to strengthen their relationship, including engaged couples, couples in crisis, married couples, couples looking to reignite their passion, and couples looking to take the next step in their relationship to make it the best it can be. Did you know that research shows that on average, couples wait 6 years from the first sign of problems before they seek help? That's like waiting 6 years to see a doctor if you were sick. So we don't want you to wait any longer. It's time to take action now. And what I'll add too is, as a therapist, I'll tell you, by the time most couples seek help from a couples therapist, it's usually too late. There's not much left to salvage, but I want to let you know that with this method, even if you've waited 6 years or longer, there's still hope. What I'm going to talk to you about today is the Gottman 7 Principles program for couples. And I'm going to make you a special offer today because you are giving me your valuable time to listen to what I have to say. So for those of you who stay on this webinar until the very end, we're going to be on together for about an hour or so today, maybe a little more, a little less. I have a special offer for you. I'm going to provide you with a link where you can sign up for a free 30-minute couples consult with me to see if you'd benefit from my 8-week personalized couples coaching program. And even if not, we'll have that 30 minutes for me to give you some guidance about what to do next. I will give you some tips on how to help get your relationship going in the right direction, even if you decide not to work with me. So this is no strings attached. I always try to help everyone who comes through my door or calls me, even if they don't end up working with me, and I promise I will do that for you. So why should you listen to me? Now, I know a lot of you on this webinar probably do know me because you've worked with me before, or your family members have seen me. I'm pretty well known in the Jacksonville community, so I hope that a lot of people who know me are on this webinar have been helped by me. But if you don't know me, you should know that I'm a licensed clinical social worker who has been in practice for over 20 years. I know I sound like I'm 3 years old up by my voice, but I really am older than that. I'm also a certified Gottman educator, so John and Julie Gottman have certified me to teach their method, and I do a pretty good job. The couples I've worked with one-on-one have successfully and quickly improved their relationships and avoided breakup and divorce, many times even when they had just about lost hope. It was a last-ditch attempt. So I just want to give you a little testimonial from one of the wives of one of the couples I worked with. And she said, I credit Lori with both saving my marriage and my mental stability. She says that Lori's approach is very caring and flexible. She's not a one-size-fits-all type of therapist. She is kind while also laying things out in black and white. She doesn't let you hide behind excuses, yet she makes you come to realizations about yourself and your world in a positive way. I absolutely credit her with both saving my marriage and my mental stability. And when I get testimonials like that, it just makes me feel great, because that's what I'm doing this for, to help people and to help people get better and love each other and do better, not to see people break up and hate each other. So I have lots of different testimonials like this, so thank you. But what I really wanted to tell you, I was thinking about what to talk about during this presentation, and I thought, wow, it would be interesting to see what other therapists, such as myself, say about the Gottman method. And I came across this very powerful quote, and you can really find this quote on Amazon under the Gottman books, written by a therapist, and I want to share it with you. He says, I practiced psychotherapy in New York City for 14 years. Though I had training as a marriage counselor in addition to my main training as a psychotherapist, I turned away more couples than I accepted. Most years I didn't take on more than 1 or 2 couples, if that. There were many reasons for this, but fundamentally it was that marriage counseling rarely works. About 35 to 40% of the time, and half of those relapse, according to the best research. Most couples, I believed, could not be helped, so I didn't want to take their money or waste their time. Now focus in on this sentence. In hard, cold truth, most of what marriage counselors teach is just made up, concocted, without any sound research base. That's just a fact. When I was in training, I was utterly shocked at this. If I had known John Gottman's work back then, I would have had an entirely different approach to treating couples, and I would have taken more of them on. No one in my 3 years of training ever mentioned Gottman, and I went to a pretty respectable institute. Gottman is just so at odds with conventional wisdom in the field that he wasn't even taken seriously. Now, when I saw this quote, it resonated with everything I was feeling. This is true of myself. I wasn't trained in Gottman treatment. I went to a very prestigious school of social work, and in undergraduate university, I went to Cornell University and Bryn Mawr Graduate School of Social Work, one of the best in the country. Never heard about Gottman training. And so when I saw this, I thought, wow, this isn't just me that feels this way. But here's another quote from another psychotherapist. It says, any couple who has been dissatisfied with therapy might want to try finding a psychologist or a therapist who uses Dr. Gottman's work, or finding a therapist who is willing to learn it with them. In my experience, his work is simply the best, and it is based on a huge database of clinical experience with real people. Couples need an explanation of what is wrong and specific, usable guidance about what to do. Dr. Gottman's work fits the bill perfectly. And of course, even if you've never been in therapy or even considered it, the method is still quite useful. So these are real quotes from other therapists that really resonate with how I feel as well. But let's talk a little bit about one of my secrets. And I'm really telling you this because I want you to get the right kind of help. But I used to also strongly dislike doing couples counseling. And why is that? Well, by the time most couples came to me to seek therapy, they were in crisis because they had probably waited 6 years, right, or more, and they were likely to end the relationship. And I used the traditional couples counseling approach, which was, truthfully, a mishmash of teaching stilted communication techniques, listening to each person complain about the other, and then try to be a referee. Now, I am an excellent therapist. And there were some couples that I really did help and was able to save using these methods. But it took a lot of energy and time. And a lot of couples I was not able to help because they came to me in too much crisis and I didn't have the skills to truly help them. So I really did, just like that other therapist, did not look to take on a lot of couples. I really saw mostly individuals and saw other people for eating disorders, which is my other specialty. And I did really well in that and had excellent training and still do. But then I decided, I learned about Dr. Gottman's approach kind of by accident. And I decided, hey, I'm going to go become certified in this method. It looks interesting. You know, it looks like it's something different. And I started to teach it with some of the couples that I was working with. And something really amazing happened. Once I started to teach the Gottman method, seeing couples became an absolute joy rather than a drain. I started to witness miraculous changes within the couples I saw for treatment within a matter of weeks, not months, like I had been with the other couples I had been seeing. And by learning these techniques, you're going to be saving so much emotional time, energy, and money just by watching this webinar today and knowing how to secure the right help now. That I have to give you this information for free. Even if you don't come to see me for coaching, which I hope you will, I want you to have this information because not a lot of people have it. In fact, this research by Drs. John and Julie Gottman, what they did was they created this lab called the Love Lab. And what it did, their method combined research and wisdom from over 4 decades of research that they conducted with over 3,000 real couples in this Love Lab. And what they did was they developed 7 principles toward building a strong and satisfying and meaningful relationship. So by teaching you these, I'm going to help you avoid the wrong turns and roadblocks that so many couples encounter when they are seeking premarital counseling or desperately trying to save their love relationships. So let me tell you a little bit about why most relationships fail therapy. First of all, it's not your fault. active listening is what's usually taught in couples counseling. And if you've been in couples counseling before, you know that the therapist probably taught you about I statements and that you have to reflect back what your partner is saying and make sure you got it right and clarify. That's pretty much the traditional couples counseling method. But the truth is, what Doctors John and Julie Gottman found out through their research is that successful conflict resolution is not the primary factor in making relationships succeed. In fact, I will tell you, when I see couples in my Gottman coaching course, we do not focus on solving their problems. Isn't that a relief? You do not come into therapy and work on hashing out every problem you have that you've had maybe for years. You don't even need to do that. Solving problems is not the key to having a happy relationship. By far not the only key. This is uncommon knowledge in the couples counseling field. So not only maybe do you not know it as a layperson, but a lot of therapists don't know it. A lot of couples counselors don't know it. Just like I didn't know it way back when I started in my counseling practice. So I feel it is my mission to help as many couples as possible learn and implement these simple but powerful relationship-saving techniques as possible. If more couples and therapists knew about these strategies, so many more relationships would be healthy and thriving rather than going down in flames. And without having to be in counseling for months on end, counseling that's unlikely to work, even with the best of therapists, I hate to say. You should not have to grope blindly in the dark for help, just hoping you stumble upon the right book, counselor, or solution for relationship advice when I know exactly what to do and I've seen it work over and over again with the couples that I've worked with over the years. So one thing we kind of hear about relationship counseling is that, or being in a marriage or being in a relationship, is that it's hard work. How many times have you heard, oh yes, being married is hard work, and if you're not willing to do the work, then it's not going to be a successful relationship? Well, I'm here to say that's all a bunch of hooey. Keeping a romantic relationship loving, passionate, intimate, and supportive does not have to be hard work. In fact, it should be fun, loads of fun. And if you learn the secrets to what makes relationships strong and healthy, you will start having more fun with your partner than you ever imagined. In fact, that's why I love teaching this course so much, because we have tons of fun, we laugh a lot, and the relationship becomes stronger and more successful. So that's why a lot of people avoid couples counseling, because they know it's going to be hard work and you're going to have to be in pain and face the pain. And I'm telling you, that is just not true. Okay, so let me tell you how that's going to work. Truly, most of the couples I see are good people, and at one time were madly, deeply in love with each other, or still are, but want to know how to keep that love strong for a lifetime. But because of life stress and not knowing these powerful secrets to lasting relationships, their love for each other eroded and suffocated over time. You may want to recapture how you felt about each other in the beginning, but you might feel worn down and hopeless. You may feel deep despair and not know how you could ever repair what has been broken. And certainly a lot of the couples, by the time they call me, feel this way. They are desperate and they're not sure what to do. And if you're feeling that way today, I'm going to start to give you a lot of hope that things can get better. So I'm going to give you as much information as I can in this hour we have together. And I'd be shortchanging you if I didn't. For that reason, we may run 10 minutes or so over. So I hope you can hang in there with me. We'll see how we do in terms of the time, but I don't want to shortchange you on the information I'm giving, so I'm going to really take my time to talk with you. So I am now going to share with you the 6 signs I use to predict breakup and divorce during the first session I meet a couple, and tell you what you can do if you see these signs within your relationship. Okay? But first, I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of being in a happy relationship. And you may have heard some of these before, or statistics and facts like these, but did you know that people who stay married live 4 years longer than those who do not? It's also, of course, harmful to raise children in a home where parents are hostile to one another. In fact, I have a lot of couples that come to me and say, we're really unhappy together, but we're staying together for the benefit of the children. Or another comment I hear a lot is, we're just waiting till our last child goes off to college and then we're going to divorce. And what I'll tell you is, I speak with children of all ages. I speak with young children whose parents are divorcing, and I speak with children of parents who waited until they went to college or until they left the nest in order to get divorced. And it is just as painful. In fact, I would argue it's even more painful a lot of times for the older children. It's painful for all of them, but the older children, when their parents wait and are unhappy, usually tell me, I wish my parents had just gotten divorced or had gotten help, because I knew they hated each other, or they really, were unhappy together. So you're not doing your kids any favors by just bearing it and suffering, and you're not doing yourself any favors either. And you don't have to do that. You can learn these methods and actually make the relationship better. And also, people in unhappy relationships have a 35% increased chance of getting sick. If you are struggling and suffering, fighting all the time with each other, or distancing and holding on to resentment, or just unhappy, that increases stress levels. And stress levels have been linked to all kinds of physical problems and emotional problems. Physical problems like heart attacks, high blood pressure, and also emotional problems like depression, substance abuse, anxiety, panic attacks. So you definitely, if you're suffering with some of those issues, that doesn't have to be. So it's really important for so many reasons, for your health, your kids' health, if you have kids, to work on making things better. So let's talk a little bit about the myths of marriage, or I would say, I know I'm talking a lot about marriage today, but this is also a workshop for couples in committed relationships, even if you're not getting married or you have a life partner. So there are a lot of myths we hear about what makes a happy relationship, and they're just not true. So the first one is, birds of a feather flock together. So for example, if you two are extremely different kinds of personalities, or if you have different interests, it'll never work. And that is not necessary to make a happy relationship. You do not have to be totally similar. The second myth is that you scratch my back and I scratch yours, which means that it's kind of, you keep score. You have to do equally for one another in order to have a happy relationship. You have to keep score. And that's not true either. You don't have to have exactly the same, you don't have to keep a tally of what you're both doing for each other. Myth number 3 is avoiding conflict will ruin your marriage. I would say actually just the opposite, and we'll learn that in a couple more slides, is that distancing actually, when researchers have studied the types of communication styles in couples, they actually found that the couples who did not talk about issues, did not fight, were more likely to get divorced. The distancers are more likely to divorce, not the fighters. Even though fighting, it's not that great either if you're fighting in the wrong way. So it's okay to have conflict. There's not something wrong with you if you have conflict in a relationship. All close relationships have conflict sometimes. The fourth myth is that extramarital affairs are the root cause of divorce. So the truth about that is that affairs are usually they're usually a symptom of problems in the relationship, not the cause of problems. I mean, it sure doesn't help things. And I would say that if you're thinking about having an affair, get the help first. Really get the help with your partner first, because that just escalates and makes things worse, but it's not the root cause. The fifth myth is that men are not suited for monogamy. And having seen hundreds of people over the years, including men, I can tell you that most men want committed, loving relationships just as much as women do. In fact, men are the ones after divorce that remarry quicker than women. So that's definitely a myth. The sixth is our common, from the book that was very famous years ago, is that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and you speak different love languages, and you have to speak each other's language because you're so different. And, those books are really sweet and helpful, but the truth is you can be very different, and you don't have to totally understand each other and be on the same page and have the same and speak in your partner's language style or your love language in order to do well. You just have to practice the relationship strengtheners that Gottman figured out through research that work for 98% of couples that do well. The seventh is really interesting, the seventh myth, which is that your marriage is totally doomed if there's neurosis or personality problems. And I kind of laugh about that because way back when I was in when I was in college, actually, I had a wonderful psychology class, and I had a teacher that was just fantastic. And I remember one of his many, many wonderful quotes is that we're all neurotic. And as a therapist, I sure know that. We all have our neuroses and problems. Nobody goes through life without their problems. So if it were true that you could never be in a relationship if you weren't slightly or a lot neurotic, then it just wouldn't happen. So don't fret if you feel like sometimes you're a little nutty, because nutty people can have successful marriages. Okay? So I just wanted to go through a little bit of those myths of marriage to kind of debunk them. So let's talk about what does make marriage work. So what the Gottmans found out does make marriage work are five kind of principles, or five bedrocks. One is having a friendship, being best friends. And that's what this course teaches you how to do. Or if you were once best friends, how to reconnect with that again. 2 is what they call positive sentiment override. And what that means is that you learn how to make being positive about each other a focus in the relationship. Not about hashing out problems, but how to focus on the positive even if you are having problems. And I'll explain a little more about that as we go on in this hour. The 3rd is what they call repair attempts. And we'll talk again, I'll be more specific, but repair attempts are when you have conflict, to be able to try to make approaches to your partner that help pull them back close to you, and to be able to accept that attempt from your partner and not reject them. So I'll talk a little more about repair attempts in a couple more slides. The 4th is acknowledging, like we said before, that not all problems are solvable, and your marriage or relationship is not doomed if you don't solve all your problems. There are what John and Julie Gottman call solvable versus unsolvable problems. And in the 8-week coaching course, I teach you what's the difference between a solvable and an unsolvable problem and what to do. And of course, the 5th is honor and respect, is keeping your relationship filled with respect and honor, and not putting each other down. Okay, so those are the things that does make marriage work, even if you're different, even if you fight. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how I predict divorce. So just getting a little drink here. Let's talk a little bit about what doctors John and Julie Gottman did years ago when they first started their research. So they had this really cool lab they called the Love Lab. And what they did is they had, over the years, hundreds of couples come in and just interact with each other. They didn't tell them to do anything specific. They basically just said, be yourself. Be yourself for this half hour, or I don't know, they probably observed them for, an hour. Just do what you normally do. Read the paper. The whole lab was set up like a little apartment with a kitchen and with, what you would normally have in your house. And all they did was they sat and they coded all the couples' behaviors and how they talked to each other, or if they didn't talk, their body language. And what happened was, as they observed these hundreds of couples over the years, certain patterns emerged. And of course, they followed these couples and saw, did they stay together or not over the years? And they found that there was a difference between what they called the masters of relationships and the disasters of relationships, the people that stayed together despite problems and loved each other and could be connected, and the people who broke up, who were not going to stay together. So they looked at couple interactions, communication patterns, and their overall satisfaction. So could you imagine observing all these couples? It must have been really fascinating at the time to do that kind of research. No one had done that kind of research. And I would argue that there aren't many couples therapists doing that kind of research today. So I'm going to tell you about right now about the 6 predictors of divorce that they observed in this Love Lab. And the first one is what we call the harsh startup. So I want you to think really hard today about whether you have these 6 predictors in your relationship. And when I observe a couple the first time I see them, I can also tell if they have these 6 things. I can predict by the end of the session whether they're likely to divorce or stay together, break up or stay together. So the harsh startup is 96% of the time, conversations that begin with a harsh startup will end negatively. So let's say you're upset with your partner about something and you start by accusing them. Like, you never clean up after yourself. Do I look like your mother? Or, I've asked you a million times to do the dishes and you really are not treating me with respect. I just can't stand it anymore. Or, I really wish I could rely on you to pick up the kids. You always let me down. These are what are called harsh startups. So think a little bit for a minute. Are you having those kinds of harsh startups with your partner, or are they doing it with you? Hopefully not, but if they are, that's a predictor of eventual breakup of a relationship. The second predictor of divorce and breakup is what we call the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So the Gottmans definitely have a penchant for the dramatic, and they did call it, did give it a very serious name. So the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and I want you to think very carefully whether you have these in your relationship. So the first one is being critical of your partner. So it's kind of like blaming statements. You never do this for me. You're so selfish. You don't care about me. You're very cheap. Kind of name calling is what we would call criticism. The second horseman is defensiveness. So when your partner comes to you and says, hey, there's something I really want to talk to you about. I'm not sure why you spent all this money on the credit card without talking to me first. What's up? If you react by being defensive and saying, why are you interrogating me on my spending habits? I'm not a child. I don't have to come and report to you. And what about what you spent last week? I didn't come to you and ask you about that. Why don't you explain yourself? That's not a good predictor of doing well later on in your relationship if you get defensive a lot. Now, if you're beginning to say, oh my gosh, we have a lot of this in our relationship right now, I don't want you to despair, because I'm going to also tell you how you can find out how to turn these things around, okay? The third sign is contempt. So contempt is kind of derision, is kind of a higher than, mightier than thou approach, kind of being very resentful of your partner or treating them like they're less than. So, you didn't go to college like I did. I know best. Or, what would you know about finances? I'm the one that went to school, or I'm the one that does the bank statements, like making your partner feel smaller, basically. So that is also, when I see couples doing that in counseling, I know that they're not destined to do well if they don't turn it around quickly. And the fourth we talked about a little bit before, which is called stonewalling, and that's distancing. So are there some of you out there who, when you're upset with your partner, you don't talk for days, or you fight, but then you never resolve it. You just walk away from each other and ignore each other. And as I said before, studies have shown that couples that distance or stonewall from each other are the most likely to divorce, most likely to break up. So those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Think right now, do you have any of these horsemen in your relationships? And of course, their antidotes, which I teach in my course, are how to use what we call a gentle startup with talking to your partner, taking responsibility instead of becoming defensive, building a culture of love and appreciation, and I would say adoration instead of contempt. And instead of stonewalling, do physiological self-soothing so you don't distance when you're upset. Okay, I talk about that a lot more when I work with couples in my coaching course. The third sign of breakups in a relationship is what we call flooding. So flooding is the result of perceived criticism and contempt from your partner. So have you ever gotten in such a big fight with your partner or been so upset about something they did that you just feel your blood pressure rising? You feel yourself getting so upset that you could just throw something. You can't even think straight. So what happens is, usually when you feel your blood pressure going up and getting upset, you start to distance so you don't flip out. But the problem is you end up disengaging emotionally when you flood, and you end up not coming together to connect. So if you feel yourself flooding, I think I have a slide on that. Yeah. So here's the physical evidence of flooding. Your heart rate goes up to 100 beats per minute or higher. You might start to sweat. You might feel like yelling, and you just can't think logically when you're in that state. So you end up getting into this like fight or flee mode with your brain. You might fight and lash out. So you use those other 4 horsemen: criticism, contempt, or defensiveness, or you might flee, stonewalling. So flooding makes you use the 4 horsemen. So if you see yourself doing these things in your relationship now, just be aware. Don't despair, just be aware, all right? Because I'm going to tell you how I can help you turn those things around. And by the way, you might see this when you're with your teenagers too. If you have teenagers, if they're pushing your buttons, which teenagers are pretty good at doing, you might find yourself flooding with them. And so a nice little extra bonus when you learn these techniques is they're very helpful when you have kids, learning a different way of relating with them, so you don't end up using those same 4 horsemen with your children. That's a little added bonus for those of you who have teens. The 5th sign of divorce and breakup are what we call failed repair attempts. So repair attempts are offerings to decrease emotional tension in order to prevent flooding. But if your partner's already flooded, these repair attempts will fail. Okay, so for example, an example of a repair attempt is you start to fight, but one of you says, honey, we love each other. I really do love you. Let's just hug each other and start again. So that's what we call a repair attempt. Another kind of repair attempt is joking around, saying, boy, we're really getting into it today. It's worse than, the WWF. Is that the World Wrestling Federation? I'm sorry, I'm not a wrestling fan, but making a joke and trying to de-escalate is a repair attempt. But if you're flooded and really angry, you're not going to be able to accept your partner's attempt to de-escalate and repair. Now, even when the 4 horsemen are present, if repair attempts are successful, the marriage can still be stable and, I would argue, happy. And that's part of what the Gottman coaching course teaches you: how to practice doing repair attempts successfully and how to accept them successfully without flooding and stonewalling. I know this is a lot of information that I'm not going too fast. And remember, I'm going to offer you a free 30-minute consult. So write your questions down, and if you talk to me in that consult, you can ask me all the questions you have about these signs. So the 6th sign that the Gottmans found in their research was when couples revised history and had bad memories of when they met. So for example, the counselor says, tell me about your wedding. And the couple rewrites the past or has distorted perceptions. So he might say, you were awfully flirty with our best man, it seems to me. Or she says, you were late to the ceremony because you couldn't bear to stop partying with your dumb college friends. Now I bet this couple didn't feel that way on their wedding day. They probably had a wonderful day and loved each other and were focusing on the positive. But over the years, because they didn't have the skills to keep the relationship connected and loving, they started to rewrite history. And when I hear couples rewriting history and talking about how bad it was to be together, I know that's a real bad sign. Okay, so those are the 6 signs of how we predict divorce with Gottman's couples coaching. And I know that you might right now be feeling, oh my gosh. I hope some of you are saying, woohoo, we don't have any of those signs. This is really great. We're doing really wonderfully. And I am so glad to hear that if that's true. But I have a feeling a lot of you listening today are in the other category and saying, oh my gosh, we have been doing this stuff for years and it's been getting worse. What are we going to do? This is a 98% predictor of divorce and breakup. So I'm not trying to make you feel bad today. I want to make you feel better and hopeful. And I would tell you, we don't get a manual for how to be in a healthy couples relationship. Just like we don't get manuals on how to raise children, we have to kind of do the best we can. And we often have models of our parents, and maybe our parents didn't have the greatest relationship. And there's all kinds of, faulty information about how to have a healthy relationship out there too. So don't despair. You're in good company, and there is help and a solution. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about what's next. So this is a lot of information. Even with this webinar, it can feel overwhelming to put all of this advice into action correctly and with confidence. And you also need to know what to do instead. Learning the techniques masters of successful relationships use every day that are proven to make relationships thrive for a lifetime, not just survive or barely survive. And I wish I had time today to give you the whole thing, the whole 8-week course about what will help you improve your relationship and learn what doctors John and Julie Gottman figured out actually helps marriages and relationships thrive for years and years and stay together forever. But we just don't have enough time in this 1 hour we have today. But here's the good news. As I said before, I offer an 8-week couples coaching program where I personally will teach you the entire relationship strengthening system. It will give you one-on-one coaching with me, and I guarantee that your relationship will be off life support and filled with closeness, hope, and even passion within these 8 precious weeks, as long as you fully participate with me. I mean, you have to do the class, you have to participate. You have to do the homework and basically do what I say. So I wouldn't be able to make this bold guarantee if I hadn't seen it work so many times with the other couples that I've worked with. And remember, I only used to see, just like that other therapist, I would only take on one couple once in a while because it was so stressful and I didn't know if it would work or not. I would try my very best to help them, but sometimes it wouldn't work. And since I've become a Gottman relationship educator, all of the couples I see do better. They learn, if they participate and they really do the homework and do their part, they're usually feeling much, much better in the first few weeks. And by 8 weeks, they're doing awesome. So think of the emotional cost for you as an individual, your partner, and your family from suffering indefinitely in an unhealthy relationship. We talked before about the emotional and physical costs when you're suffering in your primary relationship. And think about the benefits of having a healthy relationship. It actually extends your life. It has the potential to really extend your life and your happiness. Think about the time and energy that's spent arguing, fighting, and wasting time with counseling that is not effective. The stress of living in an unhealthy and unsupportive environment. And unfortunately, the monetary cost of divorce or separation. And as I've said, I've worked with a lot of children of divorce, individuals who've been through divorce. They obviously didn't see me for couples coaching. And the divorce industry is not looking to help you work on your problems. It is an adversarial world, and divorce attorneys are looking to, unfortunately, make you fight each other and fight for resources. So it is very emotionally stressful and physically stressful if you decide to divorce or separate. You don't want to do that. Now imagine this future. What if you could reignite the excitement and passion for your partner that you had when you first started dating within a matter of weeks, even if you were feeling hopeless right now at this moment? Think about gaining powerful relationship skills that you can use for the rest of your life together and also with your children. And they're easy to learn too. You don't have to be, it's not rocket science. You just need help and coaching to do it. Imagine being in a love relationship that will be envy of others for years to come. This is all possible for you. So you will gain access to all of this and more in my 8-week personalized coaching course. This course is a concentrated training on the science and love of creating and maintaining healthy and loving relationships. I will teach and coach you on the methods taught by Doctors John and Julie Gottman that will clearly show you how to nurture respect, affection, and closeness with your partner every day. Keep conflict discussions calm every time. No more fighting. And I am telling you, I've seen it over and over again. Couples that were coming in fighting like cats and dogs, the fighting is at a minimum, like it's hardly existent within just a few weeks of doing this training. You will build and share a deeper connection. You will break through and resolve conflict gridlock easily and quickly. You will not have endless hours of fighting anymore, or you won't have endless hours of distancing and not speaking to each other, living parallel lives. You will strengthen your emotional bond to become and stay best friends, which is the way it should be. And I know a lot of people don't talk about the sex in a relationship, but a lot of the couples that come see me, the sex is non-existent, or very, very rare. So I will also help you to ignite the sexual fire in your relationship, even if you think it has gone out. I've seen that happen over and over again too. So I can help with that problem if you're too embarrassed to ask. You have to have good sex in a happy relationship. So help with that too. So these are the principles that I'm going to teach you in this 8-week course, Working Together. So the first one is we're going to build love maps. So with these love maps, we're going to find out and help you to know your partner's inner world, his or her history, worries, stresses, joys, and hopes. I'm going to teach you how to share fondness and admiration for each other, which is the antidote to contempt. This level focuses on the amount of affection and respect within your relationship. I'm also going to teach you how to turn towards each other instead of away, how to state your needs, be aware of requests for connection, and to respond and turn towards them instead of away. And it's really based on the small moments of everyday life. These are actually the building blocks of the relationship. It's not about taking all these deep-seated conflicts and problems that you've been maybe fighting over for years and finally coming up with a solution. That's not what we're going to be doing in this course. I'm also going to teach you how to take the positive perspective, how to learn how to look and nurture the presence of a positive approach to problem solving and the success of repair attempts. I'm also going to teach you how to manage conflict instead of resolving conflict, because relationship conflict is natural and has functional positive aspects. I'm going to help you understand that there is a critical difference in handling perpetual problems and solvable problems. What else are we going to do in this 8-week course? I'm going to help you make your life dreams come true. We're going to create an atmosphere that encourages each person to talk honestly about his hopes, her hopes and dreams, values, convictions, and aspirations, so you can support each other's dreams and so both of your dreams can come true within the safety and nurturing environment of your relationship. I'm going to teach you how to create shared meaning, to understand your relationship's story and how that story can bond you together for life. I'm going to teach you how to build trust, how to learn to know that you both act and think to maximize your partner's best interests and benefits, not just your own interests and benefits, how to work together as a team. In other words, this means my partner has my back and is there for me. And lastly, I'm going to help you to build commitment. This means believing and acting on the belief that your relationship with this person is completely your lifelong journey, for better or for worse, meaning that if it gets worse, you will both work to improve it, but you'll finally have the skills to do it. It implies cherishing your partner's positive qualities and nurturing gratitude, rather than trashing your partner by magnifying negative qualities, using those horsemen of criticism and contempt, and nurturing resentment by comparing them with others. Not going to do that anymore. So here are the priceless benefits you will receive from investing in my 8-week couples coaching program, and many, many couples before you have done well in this program and have gotten these benefits. I promise that if you do the course the way I tell you to, you will see a huge decrease in fighting within a matter of days. I know that seems, maybe right now it seems like, how could that happen? We've been fighting and fighting, but I've seen it happen over and over again when you learn the skills that I'm going to teach you. You will experience a dramatic increase in feelings of connectedness, intimacy, and passion. That means sex, everybody, within a matter of weeks. By continuing to use the skills I teach you long after the course is over, you will build a love relationship that will be the envy of others. And the best part, this is my favorite part, is we will have lots of fun in this course. The sessions are fun, the homework is fun, and the results are fun. There's a lot of laughing. There's a lot of sharing nice things about each other. It is not what you get in traditional couples counseling, where there's a lot of fighting and I referee. That just doesn't happen. We're not going to do all of that. It's really a lot. Couples look forward to coming to see me and doing this course. So That's kind of a nice thing if you've been fearing counseling and fearing that process. This is not counseling. This is coaching. I'll explain the difference in a little bit. So here's what you will not have to do, excuse that typo, not have to do in this 8-week coaching program. You will not have to repeat and process painful arguments and experiences within your relationships, present or past, over and over, again in therapy or at home, while I try to referee. That's over. We're not doing that. You will not have to exhaust yourselves trying to solve unsolvable problems. You will not have to swallow your feelings and sacrifice your needs any longer. And the best part is you will not have to spend months or years in counseling that may not work. This is an 8-week class, period. I teach you for 8 weeks and then you're done, you're graduated. Now I'll give you, if you decide to come back for refreshers, which a lot of my couples do just to check in and talk about how things are going and maybe get some little fine tuning, I'm always here for that. But most couples are ready to graduate and do great after 8 weeks, okay? So here's what you'll receive in my 8-week course. Every couple will walk away from the course with action plans to keep on track, including fun but powerful homework to continue to strengthen your love, a packet of the course materials and exercises so you can go back and review, a copy of the book, The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work, which this course is based on, belief, faith, and trust in your relationship and your partner, and as I said before, an opportunity to continue private coaching with me at a reduced fee because you made a commitment to your relationship and participated in this personalized coaching program. So who's this course for? It's for all couples in a committed relationship who want to strengthen their relationship, including engaged couples, couples in crisis, and I have to say those are most of the couples that call me. They're like, we are going to break up if we don't get help really quick. Married couples, couples in lifelong partnerships, couples looking to reignite their passion, couples looking to take the next step in their relationship. Now, let me just say a little sidebar here. If you are in a relationship and suffering from emotional abuse, domestic violence, or substance abuse, this class may not be appropriate until you deal with those issues. And I would encourage you to contact me, for personal counseling sessions. I do help couples in those situations, but that's really counseling, not coaching. You can't engage in this class. It's very difficult to do when these issues are present. And if you are, please get help. I'm also going to give you some very valuable and special bonuses to complete my offer today. So I normally offer this 8-week coaching course for $250 per week. That's my hourly rate. But at the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you a special discount code you can use to receive 10% off that price. So every couple can afford to work with me for 8 weeks and save their relationship or learn the premarital skills to build the strongest, most loving relationship before making a lifetime commitment to each other. How many people wish they had been told, hey, before you get married, this is what you need to know how to do to keep this marriage together? Half or more of marriages will end in divorce. That is a sad statistic. Your upcoming marriage does not have to be one of them. And I would argue that taking 8 weeks to learn these skills will put you in the 50% of marriages that last. Okay, I know it's a powerful statement, but I really believe in it. You'll also receive a 30-minute free consult with me so you can tell me about your personal situation and meet me in person so we can see if it's a good fit. Now, truthfully, I don't work with every couple. I have to see if we get along and if you're really committed to doing the 8-week class, because if you don't, it's not going to work. You really have to be committed to both of you to following my advice, following the advice of the course. And if not, it's going to be a waste of time and your money. So it's a good opportunity for both of us to talk, all of us to talk and see if this is a journey we want to take together. Now, even if we decide it's not, I promise I will send you in a direction to get other kinds of help or refer you to other resources, so I won't leave you hanging. Everybody who calls me gets advice about what to do, even if you don't sign on as a client of mine. Okay, so definitely take me up on that consult. And I also want to let you know that I only work with 20 couples a year because this is a very special program and I am very committed to making these relationships work. So I need to know you are fully committed to the program because I am fully committed to your relationship success. I am not overloaded with cases. I'm not an overburdened therapist that's all burned out. I really put everything into coaching my couples and I love it and enjoy it. And I want you to love and enjoy it too. So I limit the amount of couples I work with every year. The only requirement from both of you is to promise to participate in all 8 sessions, and that's consecutive weeks. Now, if someone's sick, it's okay, we can skip a week, but I want you to do it 8 weeks in a row and promise to complete all homework assigned by me. But don't worry, the homework is a lot of fun. A lot of my couples that I work with, they look forward to the homework, and there's a lot of connecting and laughing and having a great time. So it's not, homework like calculus, unless you love calculus homework, but it's really fun homework. So here's my special offer just for you. As I said, this 8-week class normally costs $2,000 or $250 a week. But since you have taken the time to listen to this webinar and are clearly extremely committed to improving your relationship, I'm offering all listeners 10% off the price of the coaching program using the code below, LOVE10. That's pretty easy to remember, huh? So that makes it only $1,800 per couple or just $180 per week, which is actually lower than my normal hourly rate. But wait, there's another offer too, just another opportunity to save money on the course. Oops, hold on, let me go back. If you refer other couples to my course, you can get money off your own registration fee. So I bet you know people who would also like to and need to participate in this coaching program in your family, at work, among your friends, in church, couples you know who are getting married and need premarital counseling, couples that are in trouble and they've confided in you and they need to know where to turn. So for every couple you refer to me who registers and commits to the 8-week program, you will receive an additional $100 off your registration fee. Even if you would have already graduated from the course, and I do have couples that have taken the course and have referred people to me because they were so happy with the results. So just have them mention your name when they sign up with the code LOVE100, and I will send you a $100 check, even if you took the course years ago. My best referrals are from satisfied couples who spread the word about how this course saved their relationship, and I offer that to you too, so you can get money off the course with me. So if you register and then you tell another couple and they come register, you'll get $100 off, and you refer to, you get $200 off. You see how it goes, okay? So a healthy relationship truly is priceless. The Gottman method has helped thousands of couples just like you to dramatically improve their relationships for a lifetime and quickly. It's backed up by hundreds of hours of research, unlike other couples counseling approaches. It works, and I know it can work for you. With a small investment and just 8 weeks, you can save thousands of dollars, years of fighting, and learn skills you can use for the rest of your life. So before we kind of wrap up, I want to address some concerns you may have about the cost, trusting me, a person you may have never met in person. Here are some of the common worries other couples have shared with me before they invested in the program. And of course, if you have others, please feel free to email me or call me. I will talk with you about it, okay? Okay. So the first concern is this course costs a lot of money. How do we know it will work? Well, it's the only course that's backed by proven research. Also know I am fully trained as a Gottman coach. I didn't just like read about it and decide, hey, I'm going to teach this. You're not allowed to teach Gottman relationship therapy unless you are certified. And you can look on the Gottman website. I'm listed there as a certified Gottman coach. And also think about the money you will save on counseling that doesn't work. So many couples have come to me and said, we spent months and months in counseling with another counselor, and it just either got worse or things got better. Things didn't get better. You'll also be making a commitment to each other by financially investing in the course. The truth is, when you put your money where your mouth is, you're more motivated to do better and to follow through. That is just the way human psychology works. You'll also, of course, get personalized attention from me, a licensed therapist. Even though it's not therapy, it doesn't hurt that I'm a licensed therapist and I'm a professional. I also give you a payment plan option. You can pay me weekly, no problem. You also receive a 30-minute Skype or phone consult with me to ask any additional questions about your personal situation. So, it's a lot less money than you would spend on a method that doesn't work, or paying a divorce attorney, or all the medical bills you'll pay from the stress you're under by not solving the problems in the relationship. So let's look at the next concern that people tell me before they sign up. We're looking for premarital counseling and we're not in crisis. Will this course work for us too? Absolutely, it will work. This program works for all couples, those in crisis, those who want to improve their already happy relationships, and those who want premarital counseling. I have had couples come to me, and this is really sweet, and they said, we really love each other a lot, but we want to make things even better. We want to learn the most up-to-date, cutting-edge research about what makes happy couples and what makes relationships last. And we know the Gottman method helps with that. We'd like your coaching so we can take it even to a higher level. And so it works for all kinds of couples. You don't have to be in trouble to benefit from this course. The third concern is, this seems too good to be true. We've been fighting for months and may break up. How can you help us turn our relationship around in only 8 weeks? Well, the truth is the Gottman method has helped thousands of couples just like you to dramatically improve their relationships. It is backed up by hundreds of hours of research, unlike other couples counseling approaches. Just Google Gottman training and you'll see. It speaks for itself. It's not counseling. It's not rehashing things. It's teaching. This is a teaching class, and I'm going to teach you what's been proven to help turn relationships around and quickly. And that's why I'm working with so many couples now and enjoying it, because I know it works and I see it work over and over again. You have to take my word for it and the word of the thousands of other couples who have done really well taking this course. So the last question is, why do we need you to coach us? Why don't we just buy the book and do it? And you sure can. I mean, you really could buy the book and do it. But let's talk a little bit about the benefits of coaching. So what is the real value of working with a good coach, provided this good coach has a combination of knowledge, skill, experience, intuition, commitment, and passion, and is an excellent listener and absolutely non-judgmental? And I'm proud to say I really do think I'm all of these things. You can see my testimonials, and the couples that I work with, I think, really have enjoyed working with me and think that I'm an excellent coach. But here's a short list of why coaching works. First of all, it's finite. It has a definite timeline. You're done in 8 weeks. We're not going to dredge it out and for months and months, and you're not sure if it's working. I teach you, we're done in 8 weeks, you're doing better. It's also about process. Once learned, it's yours for life. So a lot of times I talk to couples and clients about process versus content. We are not going to mull over the problems in the relationship, the content of it, all the things that have been driving you crazy about each other. You've been trying to work that out for months, and how has it worked for you? Not too well, I would think, if you're listening to this webinar. So I'm going to teach you the process for helping relationships succeed. It's the same for every couple, and it can work for you. Okay? And you don't need me once you've learned it to make it work in your relationship. You'll have the tools. Okay? Teach a fisherman, right? Catch a fish versus teaching you to fish. I'm going to be teaching you to fish in this course. Also, it's goal-oriented. You will see immediate results. I have had couples come in that were really ready to kill each other, honestly. I mean, not literally kill each other, but they were just ready. It was a last-ditch attempt. And things got better for them too within weeks. You will achieve your desired outcomes. Now, coaching also forces you to take responsibility for your actions. When you're accountable to somebody, you're more likely to follow through and do the whole thing. You'll also change your habits, behaviors, and attitudes that have held you back or impaired your judgment. Sometimes it helps to have a third party, for example, me, helping you to do the homework, giving feedback about the homework, encouraging you about how to improve, what to do differently, what's going well. It's also sometimes a lot of fun to work with a coach. Like I said, we do a lot of laughing and joking around, but it's also, also doing a lot of good work. Sometimes it helps to be accountable. You'll also see opportunity where before you saw an obstacle. You're accountable to an objective third party, and coaching works. You know, what I would say is tell the doubters why so many successful executives, managers, owners, entertainment, and sports stars hire coaches, because it works. Coaching helps them rise to the next level. They don't just read a book about how to get better at baseball. They hire a baseball coach. If you are in the stock market, you're going to get better when you have a financial advisor, someone who knows what to do, what's successful. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It helps to be accountable and have someone on your side and invested in your success. And certainly I will be invested in your success too, or I wouldn't be, you know, having couples come to me over and over again, or couples referring people to me because it worked so well for them. So I hope that answers that question about why coaching instead of just trying to do it on your own. So if you are on the Google Hangouts page or on my website page watching this webinar, you can register today for your free 30-minute Skype or phone consult using the link that is provided below. And also, if you have questions, please call me. I'd be happy to talk with you and help you decide if the course is right for you. My number is right here, 904-737-3232. Now, I think that most of the people probably on the call are in the Jacksonville, Florida area, and I would love to see you in person for the coaching class. But if you're not living in Jacksonville, I have done this course remotely by Skype with couples. So we can do a remote learning class too. And if you are technologically oriented and you like to do that and you want to be in the privacy of your own home, we can do that too. So you can call me and we can discuss which option is best for you. And you can also email me at bodyimagecounseling@gmail.com to register for the class and set up a free consult. So I think that we're about at the end of this webinar, and I hope that this was helpful to you. And if you've seen some of these 6 signs of divorce and breakup in your own relationship, please don't despair, because there is an answer, and I would be honored to be the person to help you to turn your relationship around, and at the very least to help you to know what to do next. So do sign up for that free consult. I would like to see my 20 couples this year. I hope you're one of them. And please call with any questions, and it was so good to be here today. I wish you all the best of luck, a lifetime of relationship happiness, and I hope to meet you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye now.